Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel. Peter likes books. And I wasn't really expecting to do a little car vlog today, but I kind of feel moved to do it and talk a little bit about what I'm reading right now. I just was like, I'm listening to this audiobook and I just got so incredibly moved. I started crying. It is very rare these days, as much as I read, that I cry in a book, you know? Now sometimes at the end of a book because I'm sad that the book is over, or I don't know, I sometimes cry out of joy in books for characters, you know? But it's very rare that a sentiment in a book, or something that is an idea that the book is trying to portray, makes me cry. So let me tell you what happened. The last vlog that I did on here, I asked for suggestions on cozy mysteries, which I just want to say thank you to everybody that left suggestions in the comment section below. If you have other suggestions for cozy mystery series or whatever, let me know. I did download several books that people suggested for me. I'm going to pull in here in a second and I will tell you what I got. First of all, I looked into this one series which somebody recommended to me that is all based on chocolate, and it's about this woman that moves to England because she finds out that she was adopted by she lives in the United States and she finds out she was adopted by an American family, but she is originally from England. And so she moves there. Is it too dark, or are you not gonna be able to see? I mean, you can't see me at all anyway on this thing. It doesn't matter, nobody cares. Nobody cares! But I wanted to tell you the audiobooks. Okay, so that one is called, oh shoot. Deviant Chocolate. Deviant. It's not called Deviant Chocolate. Well, you know what I should do is I should just go into my last booktube video that I did, and I will tell you guys the books that you recommended and the ones that I checked out for myself, and which ones I read or which ones I downloaded. Okay, so let's see. Oh my god, there's so many comments on here since last time. Okay, the one I was just talking about is called the Bewitched by Chocolate series. I didn't get that one, but I'm going to. There's 6 books in the series, so thank you, Andrea, for that recommendation. Several people, but Melissa was the first one, recommended the Aurora Tea Garden Mysteries by Charlaine Harris. I do not believe I got that one, but I wrote that down as well. And then, okay, hold on a second. Shayna recommended the Hannah Swenson series, wrote that down. Where's the other one? Madison recommended Toil and Trouble by Augustin Burroughs. I actually have that already, so I may read that. Sometimes Augustin Burroughs can be really, really kind of depressing for me to read. I have to be in a good state of mind. He's so cynical that I have to be in a really good state of mind to read him. What's the ones that I wanted to tell you that I got? Somebody recommended to me. It was about a CIA agent that moves to Louisiana. Hold on a second. Well, D Writes Books recommended Matt Haig's new book, The Midnight Library, and I want to talk about that in just a second. Where is... Okay, hold on a second. I got so many recommendations. Where is it at? Here it is. Also, I want to thank Ray for recommending Fortnite Frights, which I've heard a lot of people talk about, but I'm going to look into it. It's October 18th through the 31st. It's a readathon, so I need to check into that tonight. Okay, Susan recommended the Misfortune books by Jana DeLeon, and the first one is called Louisiana something, and I ended up getting that as well. I will tell you the audiobooks that I recently just got. Hold on, let me get into my library. Well, I'm thinking about doing a whole, Audible haul on this channel, so I'm not going to talk about everything that I got. But I bought Louisiana Longshot. That's what it's called. And then there was actually this cozy mystery that I bought years and years and years ago, just probably like, I don't know, like on some random table at Borders or at the grocery store or something. And it's called A Stitch in Time by Monica Ferris. And it's about this woman that moves to this small Minnesota town, and she opens like this needle shop or knitting store or something, and then there's these murders that happen. I could not believe it, but it was in my Audible included on here, so I got that. The 12 Slays of Christmas, which I'm going to listen to at Christmas time, and then Death Overdue, because that one was free. And that's the first book in the series too, I believe, and that's by Alison Brooke. Okay, but I want to talk about the book that I'm listening to right now, which is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. So, like I just said, this was recommended to me. Let me read you the synopsis for The Midnight Library, because I'm not going to do it justice by sitting here and just talking about it. It's like one of those books, like, I went and I did a review, so I got my coffee at Starbucks, and then I reviewed the vanilla, sweet cream, whatever it is, and I thought I'm just going to drive around for an hour and listen to my audiobook, and I just was like, so in my head, like, thinking about it. Like, this book is, I don't know, it's really, really, really making me think a lot about my life. So let me get in here, and I want to read to you the synopsis for The Midnight Library. It's not letting me get updates. It's saying error, getting updates. Unexpected error, unexpected error. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. It's about this woman, and her name is Nora, and I think she's 35, and she's decided that she's going to take her life. She feels that she is like a burden to everybody whose life she's in. I'm trying to figure out a different way to go that the sunlight won't be so bad. I think I'm going to go this way. She feels like she's a burden to everybody in her life. She doesn't have any relationship with her brother. She's kind of like screwed up everybody else's dreams. And she's working in this music equipment store in this small town in England. And like, her parents are gone, and it's just like one thing after another happens, like the night, like it leads up to it. It says, like, you know, like 12 hours before, 9 hours before she decides to end her life and all this kind of stuff. There's actually a Sylvia Plath quote at the beginning of the book, which I thought was interesting. And so anyway, it's about how, I mean, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but this is basically the premise. So she ends up taking her life, and in between life and death, there is this place called the Midnight Library, okay? And the Midnight Library is where, okay, that's much better. The Midnight Library is this place where, it kind of reminds me of that movie, Sliding Doors, with Gwyneth Paltrow, I think. But like, this whole idea has been done several other times, but I have to tell you that in this book, it is so, 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 so well done, okay? The idea is that for every decision that we make, like, for example, I just turned down this way instead of going forward where I usually go down that road, right? That, like, ultimately that decision will affect ultimately an outcome of my life. So I just split, and like, this is two different lives now that does that make sense? So every like decision that you make in your life leads to another life outcome, and there's all these possibilities of what the outcomes of your life could be. So she's in this Midnight Library, which is, it's always midnight there, right? And like, she can pick from any of these books in this library to see how her life would have ended, like if she had done this or if she had done that. I don't want to, like, because they're very specific, so I don't want to ruin them for anybody. And then she can pick one of these lives, and she can go ahead and she can live it and stay in it, or she can, like, you know, she could just die if she wanted to. And she keeps on saying kind of that she just wants to die. And there's this librarian that's in there that's supposedly like this. Anyway, there's like this librarian in the Midnight Library that kind of like walks her through this whole thing. This book, at first when I started listening to it, I was like, this book is so kind of sad and depressing. I don't know, like, I'm not really into it. It's extremely, extremely well written, first of all. But the more I listen to it, like, it's got me really thinking about life. Like, there was this part, and she's talking about success, and this won't ruin it for you, but she's talking about success, And she's like now at this point, she's kind of gone back and she's like relived several lives. But she's not there for long. Like she goes in, like if she goes into another life and she starts feeling deep disappointment, then she comes back to the library. So she's, nothing that I could say could ruin this for you, because it's one of those books that you absolutely have to read for yourself. I mean, it is incredible. Now I'm gonna go this way and we're gonna see. It's either gonna put me way in like this, the light is gonna be bad, or we're gonna see here in just a second. So anyway, let's hope it's not that bad. I look like a shadow person now. But she's talking about success, and she's talking about like how we measure success, and that we measure success, you know, like in ways of like awards, or how much money we have, or what kind of house we have, or what kind of car she has. And she's talking about how like misguided that is, and that really is not the measure of success, but we think that that's the measure of success, you know? And so like she can always feel herself like right before she's gonna like go from that life back to the library, and she knows it's gonna happen. And she says something like really profound about a family member, like right before she goes. And that was the part, like, I really started, like, I just started, like, bawling in my car. Like, she's sitting here and she's talking about success, you know, and I'm somebody, anyway, that feels like we are so misguided about what we think success is, you know, and that we live in this world and we live in this society. I don't know, and maybe it's, like, I feel like I'm kind of going through this transition period in my life anyway, where, like, I mean, I was telling Alex, my husband, about, like, my desire to read all these cozy mysteries, and that I'm just wanting to, like, you know, nest this winter and be cozy around, you know, the house, and, you know, and, like, I love, like, feeding my birds in the back patio and watching the dogs run around and, like, you know, making coffee and lighting candles, and I love all of that, you know, and I feel like I'm going through this kind of, like, cathartic change right now, where like I've really believed it for a long time, but now I'm living it, the simplicity of life, which I have for a while, but like I'm now like really kind of living it, if that makes sense. And what is going on here? People are getting out of cars and running around and things. So anyway, like I was telling Alex about my like desire to read all these like cozy mysteries. I just love the idea of that. I don't know why. And he was like, well, what's a cozy mystery? And I was explaining it to him and stuff, you know? And I don't know. It's like, do you ever hear something in a book that like right at that moment you needed to hear it? It's like she has this kind of like this come to Jesus moment where she realizes that everything that she thought, and I'm not talking about just superficial stuff, right? Like I'm not talking about just like how much money you have or what kind of, I'm not talking about that stuff. She's also talking about like degrees and all that kind of stuff, which we should be proud of, right? Of like the degrees that we've worked hard to have. But she's talking about the fact that really in the long run, those don't measure any kind of life success. Like the success that we have in this world is our happiness and our level of being peaceful and content on a daily basis and our relationships with other people. And she like gets it in this moment. And I mean, she's talking about it. And the book is just so fantastically written. And I just started bawling like immediately. I just was like, because I've gotten that for so long. Like in here. But I don't think I've gotten it in here, if that makes sense. And it just made me see things. This book is making me see things in a completely different way. You know, because I think that many of us, like first of all, when people, I say this in my vlog, my main vlog a lot, where people are like, oh, I don't have any regrets. I don't live my life with regrets. Well, they talk a lot about regrets in this book. It's a huge part of this book. And the multitudes of regrets that somebody has in their life, you know? And I'm not a believer that we don't have regrets. I mean, I know that I do have regrets in my life. But I also am somebody that has looked at my life and thought, well, I wonder if I had done this or if I had done that, like how my life would turn out, you know? So anyway, I don't know. The first book that's made me cry in a really long time. It's the first book that's really, I mean, I love a lot of the books that I read. The Dorinda Jones book was fantastic, and I've just been blessed to read a lot of really great books this year. But like, a book that truly moves you, that truly makes you think about your life, The book's a lot about philosophy too, which is interesting. He really thought this book out. I think there's something to be, you know, there's something to be said about a great storyteller, yes. And there's something to be said about a book that maybe is not such a great story, but, you know, like, introduces us to new ideas. But a book that is a great storyteller, that moves us emotionally, and also makes us think about our lives in completely different ways. I mean, what a fantastic book, right? So anyway, I just wanted to get on here and talk about this for a little bit. If you've read the Midnight Library, let me know. I highly suggest it. I highly, highly suggest it. I also think it's weird, like, you know, I read She's Come Undone for the book club 2 years ago, something before we became a true crime book club. We read it by Wally Lamb, and I had read it like 25 years ago. I read it the first year that I got sober, or the second year that I got sober, and I can remember, like, I had gone to Cancun with my dad and my ex and my stepmom, and I remember I just was like cocooned in the hotel. I just like had to finish this book. It like so profoundly affected me. And then when we read it 25 years later in this book club, or 23 years later or whatever, like, it had this profound effect on me as well. But like in a completely different way, because of how the book affected me at different ages. Like, I think To Kill a Mockingbird has done that to me too. And also Catcher in the Rye is another book that does that. Like, when I read it when I was younger, it kind of had this, this force of my being independent. But when I read it today, and I look back on it, it makes me sad. Catcher in the Rye makes me sad today, looking back on it. And this book is interesting. Like, I think had I read this at, like, let's say 25, I think it would have really made me think a lot about, well, what do I want to do with my life? Like, I want to go in this direction, I want to go in that direction, I want to do this, you know what I mean? But I think at reading it at 48, I think this was the exact book that I needed to read at this exact moment. So Dee, I want to thank you for recommending this book to me. I think this was the exact book I was supposed to be reading, like, at this exact moment. It's phenomenal. So if you guys have not read The Midnight Library, you should check it out and let me know what you think of it. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will be back in a few days. Bye.